Yo, Monday motivation. If you don't get motivation out of this podcast, well, I don't know what to say. You better stop listening. I know that you will get motivated by this episode. I am 100% sure, all right? So, listen very carefully to what I'm saying right now because in this episode, you will hear something that will change the way you look at success, that will change the way you look at competition, and that will change the way you look at where you are right now and where you want to be in the future. All right. So I'm not gonna talk about the usual stuff, the introduction stuff for Monday motivation because I think right now people have already gotten it. So let's get right into it. I'm gonna talk to you about the myth of Icarus and Daedalus. These two inventors. Daedalus was the father and Icarus was the son. These two inventors from Greece back in the old days. Now this is a myth. Understand that this is not true, but the story is life changing. It is inspiring and it will make you understand something. Why? Because I'll make you understand it, and I'll sort of link it to my own experience as well. So, in the myth of Icarus and Daedalus, they're both inventors and they invent something bad and they get kicked out of the country and they get locked up on the tower of this castle, right? Whatever. That whole part is not important. What is important is this part. Daedalus, on top of the tower, tries to escape and he thinks of creative ways. Since he's an inventor, he's very creative and very innovative. So he tries to create ways and think of ways he can escape from that tower. And then he looked up and he saw the birds. And as he was thinking, he realized that what he can do is he can melt the candle, use the wax to stick together all the feathers of the birds that fell on top of the tower and make wings. So he made two pairs of wings, right? So one for himself and one for his son Icarus. And what they did is they took off and they started flying. And what Daedalus told Icarus was, don't fly too high because if you do, the sun will melt the wax and you will fall to your death. Don't fly too low because the water from the ocean will, get your feathers wet and it'll be too heavy for you to operate it and fly. And then what did Icarus do? He was young, he was overconfident, he looked at himself as a god because he saw what he could do and what others couldn't do. And then he reached the point of success, he reached the point of achievement, and then he started flying higher and higher and higher. And then Daedalus said, Icarus, you better come back down right now or you're gonna fucking fall. And then what did Icarus do? He didn't listen. He did not listen. Now this is what happens in society all the time. You look at people, they reach a certain level of success, they get very overconfident, they start ignoring little things, they start not focusing on the small things, and then they start ignoring the heeds of people who are more experienced than them, and he chose to fly higher up. And then when he flew up, of course, the heat from the sun was too intense that it melted the wax, and he fell down, and then he died. All right, so moral of the story is, the more you become successful, the more you achieve things, the higher you become, the more salary you get. Let's say before you were earning 1 million per month. Let's say you have your own business, you start doing something, and then you suddenly start making 10 million per month. And then you look at yourself and you're like, damn, I'm making a shit ton of money. I can do whatever I want now. And next to you is someone who is making $100 million per month. And then he's telling you, dude, you should calm down, try to save up some money and invest it back into your business and try to make more money in the long run. And then you say, nah, I don't care about that anymore. I'm making a lot of money right now. I can keep making 10 million turus every single month and then I'll be fine. So that's what a lot of people do. They become overconfident. They become content. Understand what this word means. If you don't know what content means, look it up. because you'll want to understand, you'll want to know what it means. So people start becoming more content with their lives, and they start making poor decisions, and they start ignoring they stop heeding the advice from people who are more experienced and people who are higher up in that field. So I'm going to tell you another story about myself, all right? So it's it's a little bit related to the story of Icarus and Daedalus. So when I was young, I was terrible at school. I was a C or D student, except for English. So on English, every year, every semester, every test, I would get 100% A because I knew I was really good and I didn't really care. I knew that I was good at English, so I made sure that I was the best at English. But I realized that I was bad at math, geometry, physics, chemistry, blah, 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 blah. So I was getting C's and D's, sometimes even F's on these classes. And when I looked at all the other students in my class, they were all getting A's and B's in every single class, right? They were all getting A's and B's. And I looked at them and I thought, damn, these guys are smart, they're talented, they're gifted, they are more intelligent than me, they have more IQ, all this other stuff. And I started doubting myself. And then my parents, they had me go to this math course thing, whatever. And I started trying really hard to please my parents. I started trying really hard to please my parents and actually this one girl that I really liked. And she said that she would date me if I got better grades. But that's not the point of the story. Anyways, so I started trying really, really hard. And as soon as I started getting A's and B's and I started competing with the kids who were, in the top 10 or top 5 in my whole class, I started getting cocky. I started getting overconfident. I look at myself and I was like, wow, I actually just, I did a lot of hard work, and even in some tests I was getting higher grades than these kids. And I was like, you know what? I'm at the top now. So that's it. This is what it feels like. It feels great. I'm awesome. I'm the best student in my class right now because I'm getting all these A's and B's, and my English is better than them, my math is better than them, my physics is, comparable to them. I was never a physics student. Anyways, and I started getting overconfident. And what I did was I stopped studying. I stopped practicing what I knew. I stopped putting in the hours into my homework. I stopped putting in the attention that is needed to understand a certain equation in chemistry. I stopped reading my biology book because I thought, I knew everything about the book when we had only gone halfway through. And I started to become overconfident. And what happened? Can you guess? Of course. The heat melted my wax. The water, the heat basically messed up my wings, and I fell down. So after a few weeks or a few days even at the top, I started to fall down, and my grades got worse and worse, and I started becoming a C and D student again. And then you know what I said? I said, oh, so these guys, they're still smarter than me, right? And I hadn't learned the lesson. And I realized just now that when things seem to start getting easier, that's when it starts to get difficult. All right, so think about that. When things get easier, when you're at the top and then you seem like no one else is able to compete with you, and you're the best at what you do, and you're the strongest, fastest, smartest at your certain field, and things seem to become just a little bit easier, that's when it's actually going to start becoming difficult. Because when you're at the top, everyone is competing to become better than you. So when I was a kid, I was at the top and I was making fun of all the other kids that were getting worse grades than me, and what they did was they worked harder than me. That's it. They worked harder than me, and since I stopped working and I was too overconfident, too cocky, and that's what happened. I fell down and they got better. I got worse, they improved. I fell to the lowest grade possible in my whole class, and they kept climbing and started competing with each other for a first place again. The cycle started. Now there's a lesson behind this, as I said before. When things get easier, that's when it starts to get difficult. When things seem like they're going the right way, that's when people start to give up, and that's when people start to stop focusing on the small details that actually got them there. They stop thinking about what they have to do in order to improve. Because when you're at the top, there's a lot of things at stake, but people don't realize it because they've never been at the top. And once they get to the top, they taste so much success, they taste so much freedom, they taste all this money, glory, fame, that they don't really think about what they have to do next. That's success, all right? Do you know why people kill themselves? Do you know why successful people, all these mumble rappers, whatever, do you know why these people get depressed and they commit suicide or they overdose on drugs? Because they reached that point that they wanted to reach when they were 13, 14, 12 years old. And as soon as they reached that, they realized, okay, so I'm at the top. What's there to do now? And they have nothing in plan next. They have nothing in stored. So they look to drugs for happiness, and they look to money. You know, they start spending on stupid stuff, and they start focusing on the wrong things, and they start getting depressed with themselves because they don't have that next step. They stop focusing on how to improve. They stop focusing on what to do after they achieve that success. And they get too overconfident. That's the problem with everyone these days. And the thing is, that's the problem with me. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm doing 75 hard right now, and right now, everything is at a plateau. So if you don't know what a plateau is, look it up. Plateau, I think. So things have come to a plateau where things are just too easy. 75 hard has become 75 easy for me right now. All right? Now, what should I do at this point? Now, you may be wondering, what should I do? So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to ask you what you want to do, and you're certain in your position that you are at right now. So what I'm doing is I'm putting more weight on myself. So I bought a 10 kilogram or 20 pound vest. I'm gonna start working out 3 times a day. I'm going to make my diet more specific. So before it was sugar and flour, but now it's going to be sugar, flour, bread, and rice. I'm gonna stop eating, well, actually specifically white rice. All right. And the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to write down one task of the day, one power task of the day that is going to excel me and push me forward to where I want to reach. So my goals are big. All right. For this year, I have a huge goal, which is 100,000 likes on my Facebook page. And it's not about the likes, it's not about the number, it's about the amount of impact that I will make on other people. So that is my goal. And the power list is a list of tasks that you have to do every single day on that specific day so that you can reach this goal. All right, so that is the power list. Normally you're supposed to do 5. But I'm going to do 1. Because I know that I'm not going to jump in too fast. I'm going to take it slow. I'm going to take it one by one because it's not going to be easy. Change is never easy. Change is always difficult. So I'm going to try to make it harder bit by bit, raise the standard for myself, keep raising the standard, focus on the small things, never be content with what I have, never be content with the amount of success that I've achieved. Take the money that I've made from my online course and invest it back into my online course. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to buy some car. I'm not going to buy a house. I'm not going to spend it on expensive watches or nice suits or nice clothes. I have everything I need. I have a shitty watch. I have shitty clothes. I don't care. All right? I don't care. I've come to this point with all those shitty things, and I can keep going without it, without all those nice things. But what I can't keep going on without is investment in my business. So, I mean, my page is basically my business. So what I'm going to do is I'll buy a computer so I can edit my videos better. I'll probably buy a camera so I can make better videos, right? I'll buy an application for video editing and I can make quality videos and good content. I can hire someone to, maybe I can even hire someone to edit my video so that I can, improve on that aspect of my area. Or maybe I can sign up for a Tesla course. So all the things that I can do with the money that I've made, I can invest back into my own business and my own development, because I'm not looking for short-term success. I'm looking for long-term. I'm looking for longevity. All right, you see all these English institutes out there, and people are just sitting at these institutes and they're hating their lives, and the teachers, they don't even want to motivate the students, and the students basically want to kill the teachers, and the teachers want to kill the students. They want to burn the whole building down. You will live in a society where everyone is just not happy with what they're offered because of shitty people wanting to learn something for the wrong reasons, and shitty people wanting to teach something for the wrong reasons. All right? And I'm about to change that. Watch me in the next 1 to 3 years. All right, in the next 1 to 3 years, I'm going to become the best English teacher in Mongolia. I've actually already become the best English teacher in Mongolia. I just don't know it yet. All right, that's the thing. I have to prove to myself that I have become the number one English in Mongolia. I've probably already become the number one English in Mongolia, but I just need to prove it to myself. That's how I motivate myself. And if that's not how you motivate yourself, then you should try doing that as well. All right? Prove to yourself that you can be the best. Prove to yourself that other people can look at you and say, damn, he is actually the best English teacher in Mongolia, and I will do whatever it takes. They will look at me as a celebrity. They will look at me as anything that I want them to look at me as. They will look to me as an influencer, as an impactor, as someone who is going to make a change in Mongolia. I will change the education system in Mongolia, and you will see me do it over the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And at the end of this whole journey, you will remember this episode, and then you will say, damn, he was actually right. He wasn't joking when he said this. I am going to change Mongolia. All right? That is how driven I am. I'm going to change Mongolia. You don't know what these words mean. You don't know how much these words motivate me to keep on working. People in Mongolia don't give, they only take, and I am willing to give everything I have and everything I know and everything I will learn and I will know to every single person in Mongolia. And when every single person has gained the knowledge and experience and the opportunities that I have gained over the last over my few years of living, they will be better people. All right, I might even become the president of Mongolia one day. You don't know. I don't even know. I could be anything. What I do know is that I'm definitely going to bring a change to Mongolia. And for all those listening right now, you better set some big goals for yourself right now, because you have a huge competitor who is me. All right? Now, if you want to change the world, change Mongolia, and if you want to change the world as well, you better have some specific goals, because I'm willing to work 100 times more than you. All right? I'm willing to work 100 times harder than you. And if you don't put in the work, and if you slack off at any single moment, if you want to improve your English right now, go do it. Stop listening to this podcast and just go do it. All right? So that is the message I have today. The thing is, don't become overconfident. Always strive for success. Always keep on going. All right? Never, ever, ever stop. Because when you're at the top, people will come after you with guns, knives, forks, bazookas, tanks, nuclear bombs. People will come at you and they will try to take your place. And what you do, every step they take towards you, you take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps farther. And then you tell them, you're nowhere near me. That's what you need to do. And you need to raise that standard. Imagine yourself as Michael Jordan. All right? Imagine yourself as Michael Jordan. The amount of success he has reached, and every single basketball player compares themselves to Michael Jordan. And that's what you need to become in your field. Become the Michael Jordan of your field, so that in the next 10, 20, 50, 100 years, people will compete with you. Alright, you will be written down in history as the best. And 100 years from now, you will still be the best, because you reached a certain level that is unreachable. You raised the standard to a point where people have to work together for hundreds and hundreds of years to reach. Alright? That's what you need to do. Now, go out there, kill it, and be your own president.